You can view NBA player movement in two ways. You can call it disappointing because players don't want to stay in one place throughout their careers. This is what we had the luxury of this when we were growing up, that if you loved a player, loved a team, everybody usually stayed in the same place. But it's also exciting because every team is up for drastic changes every offseason. Let's face it, if the Bucks didn't win the title, if Kevin Durant's toe wasn't on the line in the Eastern Conference semis, Milwaukee would have made or would be making some big decisions here. Free agency starts tonight at 6 Eastern, and it's time for everyone to reevaluate, and not just because of the players that are available. Teams have to show their best players that they're actually serious about bringing in some talent, building a contender, like Damian Lillard in Portland, the Wizards, Bradley Beal. What about Zion Williamson? Pelicans going to surround him? What do they add there? What do they subtract there? Can the Warriors make another run? What do the Sixers do with Ben Simmons? Can the Lakers make another move? Who knows if anything will actually happen? We love the speculation, the possibility, but it certainly seems like anything's on the line, on the table with the NBA. And Kawhi Leonard, as expected, is going to opt out. And just so you understand the paperwork on this, he's eligible for a starting salary of 35% of the salary cap. So that would equate to $39 million. So it's an easy decision for him to opt out and get $39 million. You got to factor in a couple things here. Kawhi, does he want to stay? Does it make more sense because you'll make more money to stay? Is he even going to play this year? Do you want him to stay? Like, there's a lot of things that are attached to this with Kawhi. Wonderful player. And if you're another team, do you want to invest in Kawhi Leonard? Because go back to what the Nets did. Kevin Durant left the Warriors. The Nets knew he was not going to play the first season, and they signed him to a 4-year, $164 million deal. Kawhi's going to be in a similar situation. And LA runs the risk of losing him in free agency. Does Kawhi want to stay home? Right now, if your focus is on Kawhi, he's had major surgery, tore his ACL. He's got a long, long rehab time. And knowing Kawhi, he is going to take his time. He's not going to push this. And I think that there was a thought that Kevin Durant was going to push this with the Nets and that he'd want to come back and, he'd want to start sooner. Nobody talks about his Achilles injury anymore. Kawhi with an ACL, the Achilles is far more serious than an ACL. I mean, that you're out for a year. We don't know what's going to happen with Kawhi, but my guesstimate, being Mr. Knee Surgery here, I don't think he plays this year. And at some point, do you want him to play? Does he want to play? Does he want to go out there and be kind of a shell of his former self? The answer is probably no. But you can't sit here and go, well, why would you invest in him if you're another team, knowing that he's going to come in and not be 100%? Yeah, you roll the dice with that. And the Nets did that with Kevin Durant, but it paid off for them. But free agency starts tonight at 6 Eastern. There's a lot of possibilities here, but that's what happens with free agency. Chris Paul is going to opt out and then probably re-sign with the Suns. It feels like that. Kyle Lowry is in great demand right now. There could be possibilities of trades, but I think a lot of times with free agency, we tend to look at it and go, okay, yeah, that could happen. A lot of, like Lonzo Ball is an object of desire. I love Lonzo Ball's game.
Excuse me?
Yes, I do. And I think that he seems more comfortable in his own skin. The shooting's getting better. He's not a liability. And I think that this is just confidence. And is he going to go to Chicago? It's a possibility. I mean, a lot of speculation here. And a lot of times free agency comes and goes and we go, oh, that's it. But there is a little bit of drama attached to some of these players. Chris Paul, Kawhi Leonard. Do you get any other point guards that are going to, change teams? And I think that's worth keeping an eye on right now. Can the Lakers make another move? I think they're going to have a hard time signing everybody. Hey, we got 3 really good players. And exactly. Yeah, McLovin.
Melo?
Well, I love it for content. I mean, put him in there. I thought that they would have gone after, when they didn't go after him when he went to Portland, I thought, okay, LeBron, here's your boy. Bring him in. I mean, come on. You don't have to pay him a ton. Bring him in. You got an outside shooter. Now, granted, he's a mid-range jump shooter, but I thought, all right. And then when they didn't, it's almost like LeBron went radio silent on Melo. Like, hello? And Carmelo is going to Portland. Oh, okay. Then LeBron will send out something with emojis there. Yeah, McLovin.
If they don't sign Carmelo, is that on LeBron? Like, if you're Carmelo, are you calling LeBron tomorrow and say, what the heck? Why aren't you guys signing me?
It feels like that, but I don't know the inner workings here. How much money do they have? Who else do they want? Do you want to? That's tricky, man. Yeah, I mean, you got Russell Westbrook, who loves the ball. Melo wants his touches. LeBron's the star. Don't forget about AD, who's your best player. And then who's the supporting cast here? And you just hope everybody stays healthy. That's a tricky recipe if you're going to try to win a championship. Yeah, McLovin.
For the Clippers, I know what you're saying about Kawhi Leonard, but if they don't re-sign him, like, where is the championship path for them? I feel like, won't they be Paul George and the Georgettes otherwise?
But I think they're going to be that this year anyway, because you're not going to have Kawhi. Yeah, Paul.
Then why pay for it? Why pay Kawhi Leonard to not play for you? The Woj's report says that Leonard's options would be a 1-year deal with the Clippers. Like, the Clippers pay him like whatever that max is, $40 million for 1 year.
Yeah, 30.
But more likely, 4 years, $176 million.
Knowing he's probably not going to play this year.
Which would you bet in 2 years, that Kawhi Leonard is a top 10 NBA player or Kawhi Leonard's chronically hurt? If you had to bet a week's pay on one of those two, top 10 or chronically hurt? I
would say chronically hurt.
And so that's $176 million.
Oh, I know. I know. It's the Clippers. Yeah, McLovin.
But you have to take that risk because otherwise you're never winning a title.
Yeah.
They might have won the title this year if Kawhi was healthy.
Maybe.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, all right.
They would have a shot.
Well, if you were going to have a shot, it would have been this year, considering, the Nets lose and the Lakers bow out early. But I think you got to look around in the Western Conference and go, how do we stack up with everybody else? Are the Clippers better than the Lakers with Kawhi healthy? I don't think so. Are they better than Denver? Close. Utah. Close. Is Portland going to do anything? If they do, how much can they do, and is it really going to matter? Is Dallas going to get better? Like, Dallas, to me, is sort of the outlier that I think they can kind of quietly build some pieces, put some pieces in there with Luka, and maybe be a surprising team. But I don't know what else is going to happen as far as some of these other teams. There are some bad teams. Does Sacramento ever get it right? Houston's not very good. So I think if you look around, you go, all right, we know we don't compare with the Nets, but then who does? Can we win the Western Conference? And you're not going to win the Western Conference Finals this year.